Astra Travelers, and welcome to another episode of Tales of Teyvat, a Genshin Lore Podcast. Last week, we discussed everyone's favorite academia alumni, Lisa.
This week, we're celebrating the Lunar New Year Genshin style. Happy Lantern Rite, travelers!
Feeling run down from keeping demon zombies away from your hometown? Does it almost make you feel like you've had a nasty head cold for 3 days? What you need, my friend, is a wellness retreat. So head on over to talesofteyvat.com. That's our website, where you can luxuriate and pamper yourself with a dedicated page with visuals for each episode, curated by Tiff.
Our site also includes links to our past seasons and special epissodes, artist spotlights from the community for every episode, and wallpapers to download.
Finally, feel free to email us at talesofteyvatpod@gmail.com to let us know what you think of this week's episode and what topics you'd like to see in the future. Before we talk about one of the most beloved events in Teyvat, though, let's check our mail from the Komania Express. This week, our letter comes from Audrey on Instagram. They wrote, and I am going to pronounce stuff wrong in this, so bear with me, travelers. I'm still currently doing the quest, so I don't have all the information. But would you guys ever consider going over the Narcissan Cruz Institute, the Narcissan Cruz Ordo, Princess Lyris, Anne, Marianne, Elaine Guillotine, Caterpillar, Sandrone, etc.? There's a lot of lore and information there, and I find it really interesting, especially about Sandrone possibly being Marianne and such. Also the fact that there's Crimson Agate from Dragonspine in one of the buildings, Purple Mud/Filth in the Chasm, and other stuff. I had no idea about the Crimson Agate, and I have so many questions. Maybe I haven't fully finished the Narcissan Cruise, though.
Yeah, I have finished Narcissan Kreutz. I haven't heard these Sandrone theories. So that's going to be interesting when we get to that.
Yeah, and I will say there may possibly be an episode on this coming in the future. Regardless, I do want to talk about it. I think there's a lot of really interesting information in that quest line.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know the Sandrone theory either.
I mean, it's the R&R Odyssey, but with verbal.
It's like the R&R Odyssey done right, in my opinion.
Yeah, the R&R Odyssey with like actual talking.
Are we going to realize 2 months from now that we actually didn't finish this quest and there's like 8 other things you gotta do?
Probably.
Me and Al during the off season finishing the Aranara stuff.
I can't find the last withering zone. I did all of them in the desert. I blew up the wall. I've done them all.
I love how Al was like, I'm done with the R&R. I already did it all. Bean starts talking about all this stuff and you just hear like the sadness come over Al and just going, oh, what? Wait, I didn't do that.
Photos?
I was like, there's this whole book that the R&R give you.
I didn't look through the tabs on that book because I was so convinced. I found them all. They're back home. We've done the party. We've danced. I got the brothers and their sister together making food. I'm like, I'm done.
The R&R, the gift that keeps on giving.
Audrey, thanks so much for writing in and asking us about the topic. We are really excited to chat about it. Not today, though. Now, we're going to return our attention to the biggest festival in all of Teyvat, the Lantern Rite. But I have a few questions for the host to kickstart it before we get too far in, because there's a lot going on in Lantern Rite. My first question is, what is the first Lantern Rite everyone participated in? I think mine was the second Lantern Rite.
Yes, mine as well.
Yeah, mine too.
Mine was the third, and we got the fucking awesome rap.
Oh,
the Hu-Tao spitting fucking lines.
The worst rap I've ever seen. I was like, please get her off the stage.
It was so bad. But then I think we had started the podcast when that happened, and I was so obsessed that Marco Meatball was the conductor, and I was so obsessed.
We were like a few months in.
Oh yeah, I had just missed the second one, and I was like, but why? And that's when I learned there are limited time events, and I'm mad.
Hello, Suspedo.
Exactly.
Question number 2. What was your favorite moment in this year's Lantern Rite?
My favorite moment in all the Lantern Rites, honestly, is that final cutscene. I love when all the lanterns get lit and the kites this year, everything going. It's so beautiful. I look forward to that from the very beginning of Lantern Rite. I'm kind of going, I can't wait to see what they do because it's so pretty.
It is very pretty. I know for sure I cried when Gaming's dad met him on the bridge and kind of like they had that like come to Morax moment, if you will. Where he's holding the kite and he's just he accepts his son. It was very sad, and my dad doesn't love me.
Me and Al both sobbing.
It really, that in the moment, like with Shenhe watching a little girl and her father like bond, and then Ganyu comes like up to her and like, hey, let me help you with that hairpiece to like distract her. Like that was so like high key heartbreaking.
My favorite moment was finding Yao Yao and Chi Chi hanging out together at the end.
Oh, yeah, that was cute.
Because I love that Yao Yao is like, I'll be your best friend, zombie girl. And I would love for there to be like flash forwards at the very end of this whole game. And I would love for like Yao Yao's daughter to be best friends with Chi Chi,
Oh.
who's still, you know, a little girl.
Stop. What the
Wouldn't that be sweet?
It's so sad, but so sweet.
It'd be the best thing.
My favorite part was the reuniting of Gaming and his father, but since Al said it, I feel like I have to have a different one.
No, you don't have to.
I'm gonna go with when Zhongli is flying the Hutao ghost kite and Xiao is like, oh, is that the funeral parlor director? Maybe I should go talk to her. And then he jumps down. He's like, oh, father? What are you doing here? It was one of my favorite giggle moments. And I was like, oh, Xiao cares about Hutao, but also he's embarrassed because his dad is here and his dad knows he was looking for Hutao.
You want them to date so bad.
So bad. I really do.
Wait. You want them to date, but you just said dad?
No, I want Hutao and Xiao to date.
Oh, okay.
Zhongli
I was like,
is
wait a
father.
second. What in the Appalachian happened?
But Daddy Zhongli, we know, was a third wheel in that situation.
No, I think Zhongli is playing the connection. You know, he's trying to get them together.
I think Zhongli is just too dumb to do that.
What?
Oh.
No, he's a genius.
No. Gui Zhong was the genius.
Yes, but now Zhongli's becoming smart.
He needs more tea to drink on that.
He's pretty socially awkward.
True. But okay, last question. What is your favorite moment from a past Lantern Rite?
The rap.
No, why do you guys like the rap so much?
Here's the thing. It was funnier than shit, man.
It was terrible. No one should remember that it happened.
That's why it's so good.
I'm going to say the awkward meal with everyone last year.
Oh, wait, I take it back. I take mine back.
I remember the meal so well because everyone's sitting there like they don't know each other.
No, wait. I'm going to change someone else can have that one. I'm going to change mine to this year's when Zhongli meets Nouvelette.
So awkward.
I love
Dragon
that.
dicks trying to not fuck each other.
Zhongli was so like, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
He was so pent up. Like, oh my God. He could not handle it.
It's the first time I've ever seen him nervous.
He was giving bombastic side eye.
Bombastic sweet eye.
I think my favorite's the year that I think it was the Fleeting Colors in Flight, which was the 2022 one. Ningguang's up on the Jade Chamber, you know, with her little like cigarette staff, and Beto comes by and they have this whole little quip like, is it again good toots? And it's really cute.
And then she says the line of, oh, I've impressed Captain Beto. That is impressive.
I would say my favorite was after, I believe it was last year's Lantern Rite, where Zhongli and Guoba meet up. And like, he's like, it's so nice to see you, old friend. And Guoba's like, Guoba. And everyone's like, what?
Yeah.
It was so sweet, especially after just going through all of the Guile lore that we got last year.
Wait, I'm changing mine to not the dinner, but when Xiao leaves the dinner to kind of like get some air and Traveler follows him. That moment.
Hutao should have followed him.
No. That is where I officially shipped the Traveler and Xiao.
The best part about that, though, was that Paimon thought she left forever and was like freaking out. It was the first time we really saw Paimon like, oh my God, she left me.
Like, Paimon, are you a dog?
Paimon was scarred after Sumeru, guys. We left Sumeru City for what felt like days to her. Now she's scarred and afraid we're gonna leave forever every time we go to pee.
Which is kind of adorable.
Is it? Or is she scared that she's failing her mission?
Wow.
It just reminds me of my dogs when they're like, you walked outside for a second to take the trash out. You obviously left forever. It's like, I was taking the trash out, Cece girl.
She's like, the trash is you, Mom. And you're like, whoa.
It's like, girl, I know I smell like trash, but damn, I didn't realize I was truly trash.
Cece looks up at you smoking a cigar
She fucking would. It was a blunt, though.
But back, so Lantern Rite, as you can tell, travelers, if you haven't played a Lantern Rite or have only played one or two, has a lot going on overall. So Lantern Rite is a yearly festival that happens in Liyue. It was originally used to guide soldiers home, I assume during the Archon War. So every year they would put up the lanterns hoping to guide any lost soldiers, lost Millith back home. After the Archon War, which is why I assume it was during the Archon War, they started to light the lanterns in memorial of those that they had lost during the war. Wasn't 100% clear if it was only humans or the Adepti as well. I think it was probably a little bit of both. As we do know now, Lantern Rite is used each year to commemorate a lost Adepti that died while saving Liyue during the Archon War. And I mean, Lantern Rite is always a really awesome event in the game too. I think all travelers look forward to it.
I mean, in all honesty, I know the Genshin anniversary is in September, but this really is the Genshin-versary that we expect every year. We know September will come and by and we'll always be mad about whatever the fuck happens there. But Lantern Rite seems to be, and I think Hoyoverse would agree, the actual we're celebrating all of Genshin and or other IPs, and this is the true anniversary.
It always has content that tugs at your heartstrings while at the same time bringing so many Liyue characters together.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually get to see them interact more.
Which makes sense because it's the Lunar New Year and it's a brand new year.
Yeah.
What do you mean by the Lunar New Year out?
Yes. So Lantern Rite is based off of the IRL Lunar New Year or the Chinese New Year calendar. And so in January, it's always the first full moon of the first month of the year. That is when we celebrate the Lunar New Year. So you'll see lots of lanterns, you'll see red envelopes, lots of kites, you'll see lion dances, all this stuff to kind of bring in the new year. Very similar to Yom Kippur. But I mean, a little different. It's a different type of New Year celebration.
Yeah, the Chinese New Year at the end of all the celebration, which is about 15 days long. The last of it is actually the Lantern Festival, which is very obviously in line with Lantern Rite.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of what we see in-game in Lantern Rite is always kind of a callback to what we would see in IRL Lantern Rite for the Lunar New Year. We're going to see lots of lanterns. We're going to see fireworks, so much music. We haven't seen this in-game yet, but having the red envelopes and giving them to people, we haven't really seen that yet. I remember growing up and seeing that, and I was so obsessed with those envelopes. They looked so pretty. I didn't care there was money in it. I want the envelope.
Which is so interesting because we get something similar to the red envelopes in Windbloom, really, right? With the Windbloom gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's always, I found that odd, but okay, interesting. I have to look to see if there's anything similar to that in German culture of not the red envelopes, but maybe gifting of money.
Well, in game, the festival takes place on the first full moon of the year and lasts for 5 days. And one thing, when I was looking into this, I thought was interesting was there's an NPC in Liyue called Xiao, who was a festival planner in the first Lantern Rite.
Oh.
So that was, the first Lantern Rite was released in version 1.3 of the game. And then by the time the second one came out, which was 2.4, that NPC had transferred to a more leisurely department to spend more time with her elderly father. So I mean, I just kind of love that she has this whole storyline.
Yeah.
But during 1.3, during the first Lantern Rite in the game, She actually explains to the traveler, if you talk to her, a little bit more, like gives a little bit more backstory about the festival. She says that people pray for peace, ward off evil spirits, and watch the lanterns. We believe the fire's light keeps wisdom alive and guides fallen heroes home along the sea. The lanterns light the path for the souls of our fallen heroes as they travel by cover of night. We hope the lanterns will guide them back home so they can be reunited with us here.
That's sweet.
That is really
I also
sweet.
did think that maybe you were going to point out that the weirdest thing of Lantern Rite is the fact that it happens on the first full moon, but in Teyvat, the moon's always full. So how is it
Oh.
full moon
Good point.
if it's always full?
It used to have a full moon, and then the other two died.
Yeah, it just is full.
It just is full now.
Do you guys really think that that's like a lore thing, or do you think that's just like lazy design?
Oh, that it doesn't change from the full moon?
Yeah, just because we know during Spiral, technically Spiral Abyss is supposed to change with the moon phases too, right? So it's like, why would they plan things around moon phases
Yeah.
that don't exist lore-wise?
I think it's probably just, a shortcut in the design, but you never know because like there's all this lore about the moon and the sun, like the
Mhm.
solar chariot and everything, and like the sun falling out of the sky. So you never know. Maybe they have a different moon that they check on.
Well, I mean, even just the fact that you can move up days and stuff like that, could you imagine it would be a nightmare for them to like keep up with it?
All I could think of Panding goes, maybe there's another moon they follow, and I just imagined like Zhongli dropping his pants and mooning them.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Not
It's
the
full.
white
He
ass.
dropped trout all the way, y'all.
Let
Break out the lanterns.
me get my kite.
Zhongli's ass is blocking the sun. We've got to put some lights out.
Look how pale it is.
It bounces. Damn.
Would that be considered a supermoon?
It's just an Archon moon.
It's the
But to go back to that NPC, Brandon, you said their name was Yun Zhao, right?
It is Jiang Zhao. She's the one that stands like all the way down at the end of the wharf, just kind of staring out at the sea with like long hair, and she's wearing like the shorts.
Yeah, but what the most important part is how she spells the first part of her name.
It is JIANGZHOU.
Damn it, because there is a so there are many legends as to how the Lunar New Year traditions started in real life, and one of them involves a woman, or well, a maid by the name of Yun Zhao.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was like, wait a minute. Did they just like, yes, everyone knows this legend. We're going to plop her in there. And she's explaining the story, or quote unquote, the legend of how Lantern Rite started.
There might be another NPC with that name because it sounds familiar, but maybe not.
A question about that NPC too. Isn't there a similar character in Yelan's story quest that has like an elderly parent? Do we think it's the same person or is it someone different?
I think that might be someone different.
I don't remember that.
I mean, a lot of people probably have older parents in this game, or their parents are just dead because they're orphans
I was
anyway.
about to say, who the fuck has parents?
Yeah, that's right. You got to find one that actually has a parent first.
I mean, Yao Yao supposedly has parents, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, Madam Ping.
No, she has real parents.
Oh.
Yeah, they're worried about her, so she goes home. She's always like, I gotta go now, Madam Ping. My mom's worried.
Sucrose has parents and Fischl.
And Gaming.
Yeah.
Does Gaming have a mom? We know he has a dad and aunties.
I mean, technically, he must have a mother.
Well,
somewhere.
yeah. I mean,
At some point, there was a mother.
alive, breathing mother.
But I mean, with that many aunties, who the fuck needs a mom?
I did want to talk about something, one of my favorite parts about Lantern Rite, which is the Mingzhao lantern.
Yes.
The Mingzhao lantern is the large lantern that they put in the middle of the harbor. And that is the one that changes every year. This year it represented one of the fallen yakshas. It's been 2 carps, which, wow, I totally forgot about the carps until looking back. And I was like, Funjin, is that you?
I thought about Funjin too, or Funyan, as I like to refer to her lovingly. But she's alive.
But they didn't know that.
Ah.
hmm
Ooh. Very good point. Very good point.
Yeah, can we go through the different Mingzhao lanterns?
Yes.
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 The first one is Sky Bracer,
Mm-hmm.
who died Mount Tianheng.
Yeah, and Madame Ping explains, so Skybracer is in the form of a deer.
Not very original, just saying.
He was the OG.
And Madame Ping tells us that his pride and joy was his antlers, and they were made from the essence of Rex Lapis's divine power, which made it the hardest material in all of Liyue.
So sorry. I say so much about that. I'm not.
Don't
the
worry.
hardest material is the essence of Rex
Mhm.
Lapis's divine power, which I think is, what his pillars are made out of, too.
Wait, going on a tangent. It's Zhongli Albano's dad because he's made out of chalk.
I've left the podcast. I'm no longer here.
We're all signing off now. Goodbye.
I'm not sorry.
But continue.
Anyway, so Skybracer has these antlers made out of Zhongli's essence, and during a battle in which the gods exchanged powerful blows, which I think is safe to assume was the Archon War, the mountains near Liyue Harbor started collapsing, and so Skybracer had one of his friends, I don't know which one, chop off his antlers and used his antlers as a wedge to prop up Mount Tianheng in order to keep it from collapsing onto Liyue Harbor. And then he continued to fight this demon until he bled to death. And then his blood became the Bishui River. And I love it that Madame Ping tells you the story, and then she kind of giggles and is like, now, whether or not any of that is actually true, I'll leave that up to you to decide. But I'm glad you let me tell the story. So it's kind of like, because we always question, did that really happen? Or is that just the legend of a different battle?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're all like, what? I mean, any time someone talks in this game, I'm like, excuse me, what?
Does it get embellished over time, just like legends and stuff in IRL? But I also feel like Madame Ping telling us without us knowing that Madame Ping herself is Streetward Rambler is almost like, bitch, you were there.
Wait, so do you think that the rock, so when you go to Mount Tianheng, they have those roots there that are very entangled. Do we think that they're not roots and that they're actually his antlers?
I don't know. I would have to see it. I mean, his antlers kind of look like roots.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm just thinking because Mount Tianheng I use a lot because there's really good ore over there. There's always the blue shit, and that's the good stuff. And so I always think about how it's to the right of the cave that's hidden there. And there's a cave, and there's a quest in that cave too. Isn't there the little baby cave?
Oh shit. Yeah, you know what? You're totally
You mean
right.
the puzzle?
There's a puzzle or something in there.
Yeah, it's the rock puzzle, and it gets you a precious chest, and shit. I remember doing it. It was the last thing I needed to do in that area to 100% it.
It's just interesting looking back, and Brandon will hand it back over to you, but just interesting seeing how they have placed the lore possibly throughout the game.
So do you think that the Adepti can just grow to be that big and that this is a literal story? Or do you think it's just a legend that is sort of exaggerating what really happened?
I think most of it is probably legend, but seeing that there are people who still lived from that time, maybe not. I think a portion of it is probably legend. The rest, somewhat true. And it will probably depend on who's telling the story. Because if we ask Cloud Retainer, it might be a whole different narrative we hear.
Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe he really did chop off his antlers, but then it's they just turned into these magical things that held up the mountain, and they weren't that big that they could prop up a whole mountain.
Yeah, it just happened to have the power to do that, and it's just we dig around it, and it's just these two tiny little lanterns, just chilling. Or it could be that it's more metaphorical of his strength held up the mountain, aka he protected this kind of barrier,
right,
to protect Liyue Harbor, because this mountain range is definitely a great strategical barrier to protect the people.
And we've heard similar legends like this before, ridiculously large by scale things happening, with Zhongli creating the Guyun stone forest.
Well, that's what makes me think that it's true, honestly. I could believe that there's adeptal magic that would allow this to happen. And I definitely believe the Zhongli story. So why not?
Maybe. I hope we get to see it.
The only person I know who will tell us the truth is Cloud Retainer. She is non-bullshit.
Yeah, sure as hell won't be Zhongli.
Yeah. So anyway, that was the Mingjiao lantern that was used in the first Lantern Rite. Again, the Mingjiao lanterns being the big giant lantern that's in the middle of the harbor every year, and it changes every year. So Skybracer was the first year. The second year, it was 2 carps. And like Feeny was saying, we're thinking that it was probably Fujin. Like no one knows for sure. We don't know why there were 2 of them. But, Fujin, if you have not played Shenyu Vale yet, is a carp adeptus that has a whole quest line in Shenyu Vale, and back in the day helped save the people of Shenyu Vale during the Archon War. So it makes sense that it would be Fujin, because Fujin was an actual war hero. So it kind of matches Skybracer.
And they thought she was dead, which, even though we do meet her in Shenyu Vale, they thought she was long and gone.
Yeah, she sort of was in a way.
True.
But then came back.
She became a Funyun.
Then the third one is Sea Gazer, which it looks like a duck. And Sea Gazer was the owner, like Tiff was saying, was the owner of the Fantastic Compass, which is used in the Perilous Trail event, which is that event where we go with Ito and Yanfei, Yelan, Xiao, and Kuki. So we go down into the bed of the chasm with them during that event, and the Fantastic Compass is a device that basically rescues us, that had been passed down to Yelan's ancestors from Sea Gazer. And according to Shenhe, just some other facts about Sea Gazer was very close with Mountain Shaper, which I don't know how anyone could get along with Mountain Shaper, but whatever.
The Mountain Shaper shade.
Damn.
And Shenhe likely learned that, of course, from Cloud Retainer. And then also Shenhe and Traveler actually enter Sea Gazer's abode in the mountains to find the Sunset Vermilionite, which helped to rebuild the Jade Chamber. So I think we talked about that during a previous episode as well. And then the fourth Lantern Rite, which was the most recent, features Menogias, which was one of the 5 strongest Yakshas, alongside Bozacius, Indarius, Bonanis, and Alatus / Xiao. And Menogias was a clothing designer and designed the outfit that Zhongli's wearing. And according to Cloud Retainer, he possessed a singular talent for clothing design. He had an exquisite eye, not just for fabric selection and color pairing, but also for what accessories could best accentuate a garment's overall styling. So I love it that he sounded like very flamboyant clothing designer. I just imagine him being like, yes, fierce, work, bitch. Making all these outfits. Like he made this outfit for, I think it was Bonanis, who was like, I can't fight in this. I'm a Yaksha, and you made the train of my dress so long that I can't fight. And he's like, but you look so good, people will be intimidated.
He was like, figure it out.
Yeah, those are the 4 heroes that have been featured in the Mingjiao lanterns. And I don't think we said, but just to give a little bit more info about the Mingjiao lanterns, according to that NPC I was talking about, Xiao, everyone comes together in Liyue Harbor to build those lanterns as a symbol of keeping unity alive. And so it's like the whole city is like collecting and donating materials. They're all helping with the construction work. And then on the final night of the festival, the lantern is released into the air, and they use the biggest piece of plastrite that they could find that year to make it float.
Can I just say, it's amazing to me that they can get an entire fucking community together to do this.
I know. But that's part of what makes Lantern Rite so beautiful and why we love it so much. It's like everyone coming together.
All you need is Shenhe. She fucking hook up a mountain.
Well, she carried plastrite, which is very heavy. She picked it up.
Or just pay venti and wine to make it float up into the air.
Yeah.
That's true.
I just like also the fact that in the first Lantern Rite, speaking of the plastrite, there's a whole story that kind of goes on where we see somebody over by the fireworks and by the lantern, and we think, think that there's something nefarious going on and we got to figure out and like foil this man's plan. And we did. And the dumbass was trying to steal the Plostrite itself, and bury it in the sea,
Yeah.
but it floats.
Yeah, they're like, how are you going to do that?
My favorite part about that story too is that it was so early on in the game that we had Mondstadt characters involved in that. Like they went back to Kaya and were like, what is this guy doing? Oh my God. And then we got pointed in the direction of D-Luke, who was like, all right, you guys got to do some undercover work. And we took out our handy dandy Fatui cosplay that D-Luke had given us prior. And we reuse it again. Like, we're just going undercover as the Fatui all the time.
Wasn't that just like a mask over their eyes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And Paimon didn't even get a mask. It was just us.
So stupid.
They didn't even give her monocle.
She could have just had a mustache on.
Her detective outfit, yeah.
Exactly. No one would have noticed. No one knew.
It was a precursor to the fantastic monocle, Detective Paimon.
Detective Paimon needs to be next year's Mingzhao Lantern.
Yeah.
Oh my God. For saving Fontaine.
Yeah, and she helped save Liyue, you know.
I don't know. She fell with wings.
She floated, you know, nearby while we fought, so.
No.
She gave quips.
She quit.
She quipped.
Also, another fun thing to come out of Lantern Rite lately has been character skins.
Yes! Me and Tiff have finally put aside our differences. And we can agree on one glorious thing. And that is, with Shenhe's new outfit, she has the biggest ass in all of Genshin.
She has the best ass of a feminine character.
Yes.
Because Riceley still gets it.
Yes.
But Shenhe's outfit this year, oof. That is, I've never bought an outfit, and I bought that one because I was like, I can't, her booty's so nice.
And then Ganyu's, her hair is finally fucking fixed. Oh, I love it. I wish they would just do this for so many more events. One, I want to dress up my characters that I've, you know, worked real hard on in pretty outfits. Just let me, Genshin. You'll make so much money.
For real. Like, just let us play with our dolls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, literally. Albedo skin when?
With better hair. Bring us his fluffy hair.
Who's your favorite skin from Lantern Rite?
Ningguang.
Shenhe.
Shut up. Not only for her ass, but actually, I love the pins in her hair that I've been looking on Etsy for someone to like, because I figure somebody had to have made them. And we recently, a few of us went to a friend's wedding and I was looking for them to have in my hair for the wedding because I love them so much, but I couldn't find any. So if anybody actually finds on Etsy Shenhe's hairpins like that you can actually wear yourself, let me know.
Probably find them on like a cosplay site.
I'm not big in cosplay, so I am not very good with finding things that are cosplayish.
What was your favorite, Feeny?
Oh, Xing shows, because I love the boy and it made no sense.
Okay.
They were like, I love it. I do like Shenhe's a lot. Do not get me wrong. I also bought Shenhe's. But there's just something about the fact that, first off, Xing is the only guy in Liyue to get a skin.
Mhm.
But he got this Fontaine look for some weird reason. And he literally is in like the video is like, do you like my Fontaine look? And I'm like, yeah, but why?
Wait, was that Lantern Rite or that was just Shen Yuveil's release? Because they were so at the same time.
It was a Lantern Rite skin. It was a reward for Lantern Rite.
Oh.
Yes.
When things are that close together, I get confused.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy peasy.
But also, I think, is it Fontaine or Inazuma where Shinsho's book is like really popular?
Inazuma, but I
Inazuma.
think it's picking up in Fontaine.
Maybe that's why. Because I think the entirety of the Genshin community was trying to figure out, why is Shinsho getting an outfit? I mean, I'll take it. I love it. I love the tiny ponytail. But we didn't see him once.
Yeah, I expected him to have a stronger storyline, but I think Brandon, you said he does get mentioned during like some Chen Yuveil stuff or during Cloud Retainer's story quest.
Mhm.
So maybe they were just tying pieces together. I mean, it definitely seems like they're trying to bring Liyue and Fontaine together by showing Navia and Claren and Farina and Nuvi all in Chenyu Vale. I think they're trying to bridge some sort of gap here.
Which makes sense because Shen Vale is the official connector between the two.
Yeah, definitely. But that was my favorite. I would like to see a Xiao skin though. I feel like Xiao is always such a centerpiece of Lantern Rite, whether he likes it or not.
He don't like it.
I wish. Now, this is maybe not Lantern Rite, but if we were to bring him to Mondstadt, maybe he gets like a good fucking tux and is just like partying at Wimbledon.
I mean, we could get him drunk, but the reason he doesn't like Lantern Rite is because Lantern Rite, all the rituals around it bring out more monsters that Zhongli killed during the Archive War. So the poor boy is always off doing stuff, basically, and having to do more work. Not that he's not a hard worker, but, it's rough.
By the way, if you look up his outfit, his new outfit, which is called Bamboo Rain, if you look at the description of it, it has something to do with people visiting the Fayum Commerce Guild from Fontaine.
That is really interesting, though. We'll have to look into it further, or maybe we'll see some more of Xingqiu in an update soon. Hopefully, I do miss the boy. But I do want to take it back to Xiao. I know I kind of brought up Xiao and how he hates Lantern Rite because it means a lot of work for him.
But it's also a lot of emotional trauma. It's a festival to remember fallen heroes, and like his entire Yaksha family is dead.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to bring that up and then also say that I think for him it's hard too because it's a time for people to come together. And we know from early on with Xiao that he feels he can't be around people because of his karma. And it's really during the third Lantern Rite that Hu Tao and Zhongli and the Traveler are all able to convince him that, hey, you can at least be around vision holders. Last year was really the first time he got to have a Lantern Rite with people he cared about.
Yeah, in actual Liyue Harbor, because we create one for him at the Wangsheng Inn and like create like fake little booths and things like that to kind of make it be like, hey, since you won't come with us, we brought it here to you. When we get him to get to the outskirts of it, so he gets to see the lanterns and stuff. But yeah, that one's the nicest one that he gets. But yeah, the one from last year, he actually is in Liyue Harbor. And maybe it was the rap that actually pulled him over. He knew that this amazing, like...
He was like, it's a demon. The demon's attacking Liyue Harbor. Oh, it's just Hu Tao rapping.
Oh, it's these assholes.
But we never, y'all were, he has all this emotional trauma and it's hard for him to be around people. But also, let's not forget that Lantern Rite means that Xiao has to work overtime, unpaid, because the Lantern Rite, they're like, we have to guide all of spirits of the fallen heroes back to the harbor. Well, guess what? That also causes all of these gods that were defeated by Morax, their like residual hatred that just sort of lingers around the place to wake up and start attacking. So Xiao is off like battling them day and night every year for 5 days straight while everyone in Liyue Harbor is like enjoying the festival.
The poor thing, honestly. I do feel for Xiao.
It's like, I've gone 5 days with no sleep just so these assholes down in the harbor get to like have a good time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get paid enough for this, Zhongli.
He doesn't get paid at all. Maybe an almond tofu, that's it, but he doesn't get paid.
Right.
He's like, this is what my contract has come to.
Yeah.
That's a shit ass contract. Zhongli, we call for better terms.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think it was really sweet last year when Hu Tao kind of forced her hand. It was like, come to the city, hang out with us. And then, of course, Venti and Zhongli put Xiao in the middle where he's like, I don't know either of them.
Yeah. A whole bunch of a table of people pretending not to know each other. So 3 people could be in the dark.
And for travelers who didn't Lantern Rite last year, Hu Tao invites a ton of people, including Xiao, Zhongli, the Traveler and Paimon, Xingqiu, Shangyun, and Zhongling, all over for like a dinner. It's basically like she invites her closest friends over type of thing. And at this dinner, Zhao's already struggling because he's socially awkward, but then he's struggling because he's pretending he doesn't know Zhongli. And then Shangyun is fangirling because he like looks up to Xiao, and Xingqiu's trying to hide the fact that he's an author, and Shangyun's also trying to cover for him. Which I don't get why, because Xingqiu is putting his carrots into Shangyun's food anyway. A whole bunch of stuff. And at some point, Venti shows up and Hu Tao's like, oh, you're a friend of Zhongli's? Well, of course you can come in. And then Xiao is sitting there like, both of these men have saved my life in different ways. What do I do? It was a lot. It was great. I really enjoyed it. And then this year during Lantern Rite, if you went back to Pervasis, you got to have a very sweet moment with Xiao where he releases a lantern for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think it's his first time.
Yeah, well, at least the first lantern we've seen him do. That poor baby boy. And it's also like, I think he really misses Pervasis like a lot compared to the rest of the Yakshas. And that might just be because he didn't play as many pranks on him because he was the youngest. But we see kind of like these moments in Lantern Rite where so many of the Adepti and Yakshas are kind of remembered, and then we have this very small raggedy shrine to Pervasis, and it's kind of like, why no one appreciate my boy?
Yeah, it does seem like one of his best friends type of thing, which it is what it is, unfortunately. But also, I think we skipped over a pretty large part of, I believe, last year's Lantern Rite, where we learned everything there was to know about Guizhong, basically, and the Guili Assembly.
Yeah, that was so cool.
I mean, what a major lore drop, right? That's in a limited time event.
Yeah, again.
Yeah, where you get to watch Madame Ping and Cloud Retainer just sort of pine for Guizhong in the days of yore.
The suffering of lesbians when Zhongli is trying to get in there. Fuck!
Yeah, it's really, it's a beautiful, obviously, I feel like every time there's a cutscene, I'm saying, oh, it's so beautiful. But it really is done very beautifully, and the art and stuff is gorgeous. And we go into detail about it in our Guili Assembly episode to kind of break down everything kind of that's going on with them. But yeah, we get this huge lore drop. It's when we learn that Madame Ping is actually Streetward Rambler, a Adepti, and not just a sweet old woman who gave us a teapot that we could live in.
Which is a major plot twist. I didn't see it coming. Did anyone see that coming?
No, not at all.
I mean, I didn't really think about it, but it didn't surprise me just because she had given some sort of clues that she wasn't exactly what she seemed.
That's also true. I thought she was going to be the unknown god.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Although I guess it's more likely to be Chi-Chi because they share the same English voice actor.
I think we all knew once Yanfei was super buddy-buddy with Madame Ping, like, she clearly knows. But I had been so convinced that Madame Ping had been like Guizhong, but kind of like brought back to life as a human. Clearly not. Clearly not.
I wish we could meet Guizhong or get some more information about her. I mean, we have a better idea now, thank you, Lantern Rite, of her personality and characteristics and the quality of God that she was. But we still don't really know a lot about her. And I want more. There was also a lot of sadness for Zhongli and obviously Madame Ping and Cloud Retainer last year because of all of that. And I thought it made the moment that Zhongli and Guoba are reunited even a little more special than it could have been.
Yeah, it would have just been nice if Guoba knew.
You don't think he knows?
He knows to an extent, but he doesn't remember all that much. Like, he knows that people are familiar to him, but doesn't exactly know why. Like, Zhongli obviously remembers, but Guoba, that was part of his giving up his godliness.
Zhongli went home and cried after that.
I did. Guava. You don't even know. It was just like that.
I love that every year, whether it's like a main story point or like something just to the side, we always end up thwarting some kind of evil plot by the treasure hoarders, and I think it's hilarious.
Yes.
Oh my god, it's so true.
They pop up every year.
Do you remember Xingqiu's like "will have order" hand motion? His Ace Attorney moment.
Oh, yeah. And the other thing I was going to say was every Lantern Rite, you get to choose a free 4-star from Liyue. So the first Lantern Rite, the options were Zhongling, Beidou, Xingqiu, Ningguang, Shangyun, and Xinyan. And then the second year, they added Yunjin and Yanfei. The third year, they added Yao Yao. And this year, they added Gaming. So my question to all of you is, if you did not have any of these characters yet, but knowing everything that you know about them now, and you had to choose one of them to get for free, which one of them would you choose?
Ningguang.
Wait, so Al, you said Ningguang,
Yeah.
and Feeny, you said
Shang-Yun.
Shang-Yun. Tiff, what would you do?
I don't know.
It's gonna be Yanfei.
She'd pick Yanfei.
Yeah.
I love me some Yanfei. So wait, but like, so if I just didn't have any characters, which one would I pick, but not necessarily about because of what I learned about them?
No, like you know everything you know about all of them today, but pretend like you don't have any of them. Which one would you choose?
Oh yeah, it's Yanfei.
Okay.
What about you, Brandon?
I would probably go with Yao Yao because I like having healers in a variety of elements.
You just want to have another daughter. Do you know how you have so many daughters?
I don't think of her as one of my daughters, although I do love her.
You don't?
I love Yao Yao.
Mm-mm.
She's such an adorable little thing.
Well, here's my question then. Who did you all pick this year?
Got me.
Yeah, I picked Gaming because I had everyone else.
Oh, yeah, I picked him too.
Me too.
Yeah, everyone else is C6 for me.
Yeah, I had already got him in Wishing, but I was like, oh, I'll get another one.
So here's another question for you guys. What character would you like to see focused on in next year's Lantern Rite? Or what would you like to see out of the next Lantern Rite even?
It's kind of cool that the new character that comes out is always kind of highlighted a bit. Like, I mean, I guess Yao Yao wasn't too highlighted except for like we rounded into her and she's trying to help the Fontanian musician and stuff like that. But she hasn't become a big deal. Like Gaming was serious in the story this year.
I would say I just want more of like the characters that we get the least of. So out of the current ones, I would say those would be probably Beidou, Shang-Yun, Yunjin, and Yao Yao.
What about Yanfei?
To a degree, but I feel like she was so involved in the main story during that one part where you're running around the harbor, and then she was in that event with everyone going into the chasm.
That's true. I would really like to see a Zhongli focused Lantern Rite. I know that he has 2 story quests, and I know that he's intertwined in every Lantern Rite, but I'd really like to see one where we get to hang out with him in Hu Tao that night. We get to talk to him about traditions that have changed over the years with Lantern Rite. He was around when it was a guiding light for soldiers. He was there when it became a memorial. Like, it just would be fun to like reminisce with him and get to see maybe cutscenes of those memories.
Yeah, I was going to say it would be a great opportunity to show more Guizhong.
Yeah, that is very true.
And the other Adepti who have passed.
Yeah, even the ones that have already been memorialized to actually just learn a little bit more about them and stuff. And
yeah, like Skybracer and Sea Gazer.
I hope Pervasis gets to be the Adepti that's acknowledged one day too.
Oh,
I think that would mean a
nice.
lot to Xiao.
Yeah.
That was my answer.
Oh, was it? Oh, sorry, Al.
No, you're good. That is perfect. Like if we could have a Pervases and Zhao specifically focused, because like he's always been there, and from the very first one, he was the main focus. But I would love to see him like participate in an actual, like we're the ones handling the bullshit while he gets to party.
I think it would force Xiao into the city too. He'd
Yeah.
have to come and honor his friend.
He'd have to.
I think that could be Zhongli's doing too.
It would be great for Pervases to be the Mingzhao lantern, but then that leads to a lot of flashbacks of Zhao with the other 5 yakshas.
Yes.
In which case we go to Zhongli, for help, and then we get Zhongli's memories. Sorry.
Amanda's like, I'm bringing it back to Zhongli every way I can. But just the way you guys were even just explaining that and what your thoughts would be on it really made me think we just don't learn enough about who is the Mingzhang lantern. Like every year, like I remember this year, we were like, who the fuck is this guy? And they don't really bring it up in the stories. And I think that even if it wasn't the main focus, it would be nice if there was a little bit more of a story of why that Adepti is being memorialized.
Yeah, it feels like we should be learning.
Cloud Retainer brings him up, but doesn't say anything about him being the lantern.
You want to know what would be really cool? Because we have multiple mini games through this entire event. If one of the mini games kind of followed a particular storyline of said memorialized character, kind of, oh my god, what was it? Was it last year where basically you had the little show, the paper show, the paper theater, and like have something like that to where we can truly explore the story of these memorialized characters, because they're all dead. We're never gonna see them. other than Pervases, which we've kind of seen.
Dead that we know of.
That we know of. Because if the whole part of this festival is to remember fallen heroes, I kind of want to know more about the fallen hero we're like looking at and getting a giant statue of.
Yeah, now that you bring that up, it is kind of weird. I'm like, why don't we have anything that teaches us about these people?
And it kind of makes sense, like like if we were living in the world of Teyvat, we would have already known it. If we were citizens of Liyue, like
Not
we
if I'm
would
a
have known this
kid.
story.
Yeah, you might not have.
Exactly. If you were a kid, you wouldn't have. So the paper theater works so fucking good.
Think of how many adults don't know some history and stuff like that. The people come to this area and go to the Statue of Liberty and know nothing about it until they actually go.
I still don't know what the story behind Johnny Appleseed is. I just know there's a man named Johnny Appleseed, and there's apples, and there's eating pies, and that's all I know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
What about Paul Bunyan?
He had a bunion.
Does everyone not know Paul Bunyan and his giant blue ox?
I know.
Okay, good. I like how each year they kind of focus on a very small tradition in the Chinese New Year's. So for like the first Lantern Rite, of course we got lanterns. And then in our second Lantern Rite, it was heavily focused on fireworks. And then we got last year's, which was more about the music, which again, all these are very important aspects. And depending on like what type of music, we could go in depth on like Chinese operas, what you would listen to, and also all the cute little kid songs. And then this year we got two specific things. And that was not only the kites, but we got the official lion dance.
And it was so nice to see the lion dance and then to also get the Gaming storyline. Like,
Yeah.
I'll say Gaming storyline is like top tier in my head. Like one of the most emotional quests, and maybe that's just me too. But it was just so beautiful and so wonderful and so unexpected. Like, that's not really how I expected it to go.
hmm I loved how like vaguely queer it was too, where he's like, I'm gonna be a dancer. I'm not taking on the family business. I'm going to Broadway.
The dad's like, you're not a theater major. You're supposed to be a football star.
You're going to law school.
Wasn't that the thing from Footloose? No, not Footloose. Oh my God.
Footloose is the most ridiculous movie ever made. Can I just say, I've never seen the movie. I saw a community theater version of it. And
You've never seen it. How can you say it's the most ridiculous?
Because it is.
because I've seen the play. I've never.
Well, I will tell you this. I saw the movie, but I've seen it on Broadway, and it's one of the only shows I've ever seen on Broadway that I've wanted to walk out the door.
Oh,
So the
no.
stage version is I mean, it's a stupid premise, but it's
The
worse.
premise is so dumb. It's literally, Brandon, do you know the premise of Footloose?
It's been a while, isn't it? Like they outlawed dancing in a
They
town.
outlawed dancing because these teens died in a car accident driving to go dancing. Like, are you kidding me?
That's something that would happen in the town that I grew up in.
And then
Yeah.
it's like the pastor's son is like one of the people who died. And of course, the pastor's daughter is like the number one character in the freaking play, movie, whatever. It is ridiculous. My friend was doing the theater in her community. I love going to see her shows, and I never know what the shows are going to be. And I walked in and I was like, what? What? Like outlawed dancing? Are you kidding me?
At least Cats, you know what you're getting into.
No, I refuse to see Cats. I was in Cats. We did Cats in high school. I'm a theater kid. I did musicals starting in second grade. And my senior year, they told us we were doing freaking Cats. And I can remember crawling around the cafeteria floor during auditions, pretending to be a cat, and looking at one of my friends and being like, what the fuck are we doing?
Now, Amanda, I have a serious question. If someone listening were to donate $50 to us on Ko-fi, would you recreate your audition for Cats for them on video?
I
Put
would,
it
It
on-
has
yeah.
to be 300. Don't sell yourself that
No,
low.
I'll do it for $50. Sure.
All right.
I'm desperate.
You heard it.
And literally, it would just be me. I'd go back to my high school and I would sit on the floor of the cafeteria and just lick my freaking hand. And that's basically what I did.
For $20, we'll force her to watch the Footloose movie.
No. Oh no. These are tortures. Are we going to live stream these? These are all going to be available on
Yes,
Twitch.
we are. Yes.
Watch Amanda watch Footloose for the first time. And the kicker, she's not allowed to dance the entire time.
Oh, shit.
I'd rather watch Fame. I like Fame.
You know, it's kind of funny. Like, I was also a theater kid, and I was a stage manager my senior year in high school, and our musical was Men of La Mancha. And I went to a Catholic high school, and there's an essay scene in that. So, like, here you are walking around on the floor. My school's like, let's see how far we can push the limits on the archdiocese.
Literally, meanwhile, I'm perfecting my meow.
I'm not going to lie. That sounds so Catholic as someone who grew up in a Catholic environment. They're like, yeah, no. You're going to watch this.
Well, it's just like a lot of Catholic schools do Fiddler on the Roof, too.
Yeah, mine did. We did. I mean, obviously, we did Godspell at one point before I was there, but we also did Little Shop of Horrors, the one with the boat. I can't remember the name of.
I'm on a boat
and I can't remember the name
fast and.
But musicals aside, Travelers, bets are on. You want to see me lick my paw, whatever. I'll do it for the right price. That being said, I think that's all the time we have for today. Otherwise, we're going to keep going until the next Lantern Rite. I hope Travelers enjoy getting to learn a little bit about the IRL history behind Lantern Rite and some of the key moments from it over the past few years. Definitely excited to see where it goes next year. If you like this episode or you want to give us some tough feedback and criticism, like the criticism I gave to Footloose, you can feel free to email us at talesofteyvatpod@gmail.com. You can also give us a follow, Tales of Teyvat on Twitter, Tales of Teyvat Pod on Instagram. And please feel free to give us a review on any of the sites you listen to your podcast. It gives us an opportunity to expose ourselves to more travelers and see if they also think Footloose is dumb like me, or if they really enjoy it like Tiff. That might be our poll this week. And next week, we're going to be talking about General Sangonomiya Kokomi. Until then, safe journeys, travelers. We'll see you next time.
Bye, Broadway nerds.
I feel like we should be doing like a line kick thing. The kick line.
A chorus line.
Yeah, like the Rocket.